It's been 30 days since I purchased the Galaxy S20 Plus. I've already viewed the S20 Ultra, and I'll link that down below. Since these phones are very similar software-wise, I won't go into in depth about the software as I did in the previous video, but I'll leave this video to discuss how it's different and what's actually important. The S20 Plus is built like a typical Samsung phone. Nothing too excited, but what Samsung did is made their original design better. The screen is 6.7 inches, and in the hand, it doesn't feel like it. The slim bezels accentuate the overall design that lends itself to feel much smaller than 6.7 inches. The screen, it's also amazing. It's 20:9 ratio up to 1440p resolution. And just like the S20 Ultra, it comes shipped at 1080p with 60 Hz. To get the best experience out of the phone, I do recommend changing the Hertz to 120. I just think this is the best tweak you can possibly make to this phone. But it does come at a cost, a 2 to 3 hours worth of battery cost. However, the battery life is good enough on this phone to navigate this. I found myself getting around a full day and then about a half of another day of battery life with some pretty aggressive usage. On the bottom of the phone, there isn't a headphone jack, but it's USB-C and the bottom firing speaker. And I think the bottom firing speaker sounds good. It gets really loud and it sounds very clean. There's no real complaints besides the location. As far as performance, as mentioned, it runs fantastic. It's a flagship phone for 2020, so we expect it to be great. The appearance of speed is greater once you toss on 120 Hz, and the Ultra feels no faster overall. And that's a great thing, as the Ultra is the fastest phone I've used on Android. Using this phone is such a pleasure at 120 Hz, and overall, the performance just feels so smooth. You know, just like previous phones these days, it's made of glass and it's pretty to look at, but it does get slippery and smudges. You can grab a dbrand skin, gives it a unique look, it prevents fingerprints, or you can even pick up a case. Dbrand makes a pretty cool case called the Grip, but I'm also linking some of my other accessories that I love for this phone down below, and also the dbrand links. Let's move over to camera. You know, the specs on the camera are amazing, only to be surpassed by the Ultra. But we know specs are not the only thing required for a camera to be great. Software comes into play as well. The main camera on the back is a quad setup. You have a 12 megapixel wide angle, 64 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide. There is also a 0.03 TOR 3D, which is a depth sensor. And this comes into play for portrait shots, but you cannot use this lens independently to take pictures. The selfie on the front is a 12 megapixel and it's 26 millimeter wide. Samsung's camera software continues to bring so many features. Maybe too many features, but I found some of the software features to work great, while others looks like a gimmick. I do like Scene Optimizer. It looks at the camera, it provides the best possible image, and it works great. It even helps you find the best angle for your shots too. I find that the camera has gotten better since the phone came out. A few updates were pushed out and things are just a lot snappier and I think more consistent. I do find images that comes out of the phone to look amazing in great lighting, and they're ready for social media. I think visually some of the best shots just come out of this phone, especially when you're outside. I don't think these images are most accurate, as they tend to be overly saturated and a little bit smooth, but I do find the image to be overall better and even more accurate than the Ultra overall. I can't put a finger on why, but it's just what I've seen comparing these phones side by side. Here's an example I saw on Pocket Lens website that shows it very well. The grass is just more crisp, and overall I find that to be true. The S20 Ultra did have an update to fix focusing issues as well, but still overall images are better on the Plus. I do love the ultra wide angle lens. Although it's not fantastic in lower light, it does lend itself to some excellent images outside. I mean, look at this shot. I mean, wow, like there's really nothing that beats this, and it's just fun to play with and gives you some really unique perspectives. I do find that this camera doesn't have amazing dynamic range, especially with the highlights. As you can see by this image, the sky is washed out. This runs true for the S20 Ultra as well. Just sometimes the sky is completely white and it looks bad on an otherwise great image. As far as zoom, up to 10x is very good, which I find is impressive. Same thing from across the room is cool, or across the lake, or anywhere you use it in decent lighting. I think it does a great job. Samsung does a heck of a job with the zoom lenses on here, and you don't see much downgrade from these images at all. But the trend is always true with Samsung phones. Things are best in great light. Now, of course, it does have the nighttime mode, which looks okay, but overall, I don't think low light performance is great on this phone. I don't find many phones with great low light performance. It seems like every other aspect of the camera was upgraded, but low light still lags a little behind. Not saying you can't get a good picture in low light, but a lot of the low light images just ends up looking a little bit fuzzy. Although the color is better than previous phones, it's not as yellow, still, I would like to see better low light performance. Close, but no cigar. Video is great on the S20. From stabilization on 4K to the ultra smooth stabilization, which actually feels like a gimbal as you run with it, albeit it's at lower resolution. The front-facing camera is great too, and it does keep up with it being 4K as well, and it sounds nice too. I find the video mode to be very robust, but Samsung is touting 8K video mode, which is okay, but I found 4K video to look better since the bitrate is much higher. Overall, I know I talked about the camera a ton because I talked about all the great features in the Ultra video, so make sure you check that video out if you want. But this is Samsung's best phone, as it should be. It's the newest. It's not miles ahead of the S10. There hasn't been a dramatic jump, but it's this yearly incremental update. But the additional zoom does add to some allure to the equation. But at the end of the day, this is the best S20 right now. Even when comparing it to the Ultra, I find that the price is more compelling, and in the hand, it's just a little bit easier to hold. I've seen this typical Samsung price drop too, and this phone can be found for under $1,000 these days if you do shop around. Anyways guys, what are your thoughts on this phone? Which S20 are you picking up, or are you waiting for something else? I'd love to hear from you. Kevin the Tech Ninja, have a great day, stay inside, stay safe. Cause look at my hair, haven't got a haircut in a while. I'll talk to you guys later, peace.